One last question regarding relationships, though there's many, but how do you know you have to end a relationship then?
You know, we know anything living, it doesn't stay the same. Everything grows, and especially human beings. So when a relationship comes to a point, and I can give you a very heartbreaking example, touching example from my own life. When we grow into a place where all of who I am, now it's not to mean like you and I could be in a relationship, a friendship, or we could each have significant others, and like birds who come back to the nest, but during the day they're flying here and there. No, we can have separate lives and share in the nest. So I'll share, if we have time, two amazing stories.
You need to explain more a little bit the nest situation because our mind gets a little bit. Right. We're like, okay, what does this mean?
So the nest, but there are times when we grow, and we live in different waters, and now we have to honor if your soul can no longer breathe living in the company of another. It's not about blame. It's not about fault. Your first obligation is to your heart's aliveness. So we waste a lot of time often, and we all do this because it's difficult. We waste a lot of time trying to find fault with the other person, or to say, or to make things difficult enough so that one of the two people will say, okay, that's it. When really, if we can, from the depths of our hearts, say, my God, I love you, and I can no longer be here because I'll drown if I stay here. I don't know how this happened, but it did. Now, and none of this is easy. We know this. But eventually, I think we get there. And it doesn't mean that we don't do things to each other in relationship that maybe cause one or another saying, I can't live this way, this relationship doesn't work, especially in dysfunctional or abusive relationships. But I'm talking where the soul needs to breathe. We each know this in our heart. And
it needs to have space to be? What do you mean by breathing? I've never heard that, the soul breathe. I love it.
Well, the soul needs to, our career is staying where our soul can breathe. Where that takes place is our occupation. So I can change what I do in the world over a lifetime because I'm following the aliveness of my heart. Because my job is to stay in that aliveness. So let me tell two quick stories about relationship. One is very profound, and it comes from a poem by the Irish poet Yeats. And I can't recite the poem exactly, but this is the essence of the poem, and it's a very powerful because of what it says about the nature of relationship. It's about a mermaid who falls in love with a boy. And so they're in the water, and she's so happy to have found a mate. And she can't wait to show him where she lives. And so they go underwater, and in a moment, and his phrase is, she embraces him and gives him a kiss, a long kiss, and in cruel happiness he drowns. Oh, it's not a happy ending to this poem. But that's not the point. The point is what he reveals about the nature of relationship. The mermaid lives in the deep, and she can visit the land. The boy lives on the land, and he can visit the water. If she stays on land too long, she dies. If he stays in the water too long, he dies. So where is the relationship? It's on the shore. So we, in our want to belong, as we started, we in our want to belong, oh my God, we found another. We say, oh, if I could just bring them to the deep. I can't wait to share what only I experience. Or, oh, if I could just bring them on land. But that's not the nature of relationship. No one can go where you live. So this changes. What is the responsibility of relationship? The responsibility is for me in the deep. If I live in the deep, and we all live in our own depth, it's to say, I need to bring up what I want to share to the shore. Because if I force my loved one to go where only I was born to go, I'll kill them. Now, in my relationship with my wife, Susan, I'm in my gift, I'm a prolific writer, and years ago, and I would be excited to share with her what I've discovered today. And one day she said, I love your work. I love to, but you have to decide, do you want me to be your reader or your partner? Because I'm the one who lives in that depth. She's a potter. I can't sit with her by every pot she creates. But we can bring to the shore, at the end of the day, this is where I was and this is what I want to share. Profound about relationships. So now here's another amazing teaching about relationship. This goes to ancient times in the Middle East, in the Sea of Qatar, where there are natural pearl beds. Before we had scuba tanks and GPS and everything, the way pearl divers would work, whether it was a brother and brothers or a father and son or a brother and sister or partners, two people would go out in a boat. One would tie a rope around the other with a sink stone, and one would dive over to search the depth for pearls. And the other would hold onto the rope and count the time they had to breathe. This is trust. Their life was in their hands. So they would count the time that they would have to breathe so that the one diving would be free to look for the pearls. This is relationship. Now they would bring up, then they would tug the line, they would come up and they would put whatever they found, treasures, before them, and they would look at them together. Now this is at the heart of relationship. Then the other would say, it's my turn. Now you count the time while I dive for the pearls. And so we live in both. We live here with helicopters, and right? And we live in the deep. And when we're in relationship, it means that, okay, this week I'll do the dishes, I'll pay the bills, I'll go to the store, you dive for the pearls. And then when you surface and you're intoxicated with the deep, my love of myself, my commitment to my heart's journey means that I have to go, I'm so happy, thank you, now it's my turn. Next week, you do all this so I can go where you just was.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mark. Wow. It's quite something to interview you and get in this. Wow, we just dived together, I feel. All of us. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. Which book do you speak most of relationship?
Well, I think in relationship, I think the new book, The Endless Practice, and also the book 7,000 Ways to Listen, which was the book before this. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.